Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. We're live on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and if you hit the bell as well, you'll get all the notifications when we are live, and of course access to all our unique video content. I'm Peter Martin, delighted to have your company ahead of such a huge game, and here in the studio with me, Tam McManus and St Johnstone legend Chris Miller to talk about the big match. Of course, you can give us your thoughts on how you think Scotland are going to do, and we'll look back over what we hope will be 90 minutes of Scotland producing something. It's something that I think even the Scotland captain has said it's a must-not-lose game. Is it a must-win game, Tam?
In my opinion, it is. I think we've got to cause an upset in this group. We've got to go and beat someone that we're not expected to beat, and I don't think we're expected to win tonight in Austria. But you know, Israel, I feel blew the group wide open the other night. You know, that was a real shock. You know, 5-2 was a massive result for them. So Austria are now under pressure. So we need to go there, get after them, impose our game on them, press the game. Hopefully we play the two up front, Dykes and Adams, you know, and really press them and try and get that first goal, because I think if we can get the first goal, the confidence will come through the boys and we can maybe go and get a result. But Callum McGregor, I think we bit negative saying it's a must not lose, but I think it's just go and try and win the game.
Yeah, our reporter Gabriel Antoniazzi has been looking ahead to this game.
Scotland's crucial World Cup qualifier in Austria this evening is a must-not-lose rather than a must-win, according to midfielder Callum McGregor. And the Scots sit third in their group, 1 place and 1 point above their opponents. Israel, who stunned the Austrians 5-2 on Saturday, are in the playoff spot in second place, and McGregor believes it's now a four-way race for the World Cup.
The players certainly knew what Israel are capable of, and you know they've thrown themselves in the mix as well. So you know there's 4 good teams probably really pushing now to get two places. So it's up to us to be one of the two. That has to be our mindset as players.
Scotland drew 2-2 with Franco Foda's side back in March thanks to John McGinn's late overhead kick. Striker Sasa Kalajic scored 2 that day, but he's missing now through injury, as is new Bayern Munich man Marcel Sabitzer, although Real Madrid's David Alaba and the dangerous Marko Arnautovic will play. Foda is under increasing pressure after different results, but Austria did win 2 group games at Euro 2020 and took eventual winners Italy deep into extra time in the knockout stages. Scotland boss Steve Clarke is wary of their threat.
I think they're a very good team. They showed that in the Euros. I think they came out their group, took the Italians all the way, which was a difficult thing to do. Team that won it. So they're good. They're a good team, good players. Listen, they've had 1 or 2 fitness issues or squad issues as well. Players not in the squad that they probably wanted to be in the squad, the same as we have. It's just one of those things you have to deal with. We'll go there, it'll be a tough game. It'll be a tough game for us and it'll be a tough game for them.
So both sides have earmarked tonight's clash in Vienna as pivotal in their Qatar dream, with both countries aiming to make their first World Cup in 24 years.
Yeah, and on the evidence of that match against Moldova, how's your frame of mind for this one, Chris?
What I do like about the Scotland team is they're creating chances. So I think we'd be a wee bit worried if they weren't creating chances. But on the flip side of that, I was looking on the way in there. I think they're the second team in Europe to create so many chances without converting. Mm-hmm. So you're like yourself, right, well, what's happening there? We need somebody that's going to step up. You know, you look at Lyndon Dykes, he gives you great options in terms of the way he likes to play, takes it in. Shea Adams obviously playing at a high level of Premiership and stuff, but we need these guys firing, we need them scoring goals. It's good that John McGinn's came back in because he's been scoring a lot of goals for Scotland, but we have to take our chances, you know, and it gets a frustration. It can become a bit of a stigma if you're creating the chances, nobody's there taking them, and it's like a frustration builds. But it's there for them. They win the game tonight, it blows the whole group wide open, and I think they can go and do it. I'm always positive when it comes to Scotland, but you know, it's like they have a tendency kind of to fall at the bit where you'd expect them not to fall, but it's a massive game tonight. They've got to get a win.
Yeah, listen, I'm not going to knock your positivity. I have that kind of certain cynicism about it at times when it comes to Scotland. Of course, we have made it to a major championship, so that's one monkey off the back, but can we do it and get to a World Cup? It was something that I know Ruffy and I on many an occasion would say we grew up thinking Scotland always qualified and Ruffy always went to the World Cup. It was as simple as that. But of course, the other great thing about it is we are all managers on the sidelines, because we're all wanting to pick who we think should be playing in the match. I mean, there was a real push for Anthony Ralston, and quite a few Celtic fans slightly miffed that he didn't get a call up as cover, but it further transpires that he couldn't join on medical grounds.
That's understandable actually, because no offence to Paul McGinn, I don't think he's been playing particularly well this season for Hibs, but Anthony Ralston's been playing out his skin for Celtic, in form, and Stevie Clarke seems to pick the guys that's in form. So I was a wee bit surprised at that one. Obviously, you're saying now that he's obviously done a medical issue or whatever, but no, I think that was one that Steve Clarke's obviously come out and cleared up, and probably got a few people off his back, because that was the one that people were questioning.
Yeah, let's have a look at what the predicted lineup will be, and then assess whether we think that's the strongest 11 he could put out. Gordon in goal, Hendry, Hanley and Tierney as that back three, with Hanley as the central of the three. Then you've got O'Donnell and Robertson on the flanks, Gilmour, McGregor and McGinn, and then Dykes and Adams. Is there anyone that you think should be in that starting lineup that veers away from that predicted 11, Chris?
I think the middle three is very strong. That's where the real strength is in the Scotland side. O'Donnell's tried and tested, right, and Steve Clarke obviously trusts him really well. But for me, it's always at the back. I think that's where Scotland are struggling. That Big Hanley comes in and does a job in that, and he's a good professional. But I think I'm looking at it as an opposition. That's where I'm looking at and thinking I can get in. That's where they're weak. He gives it his all, but I just feel there's always something there. That one of the goals the other night, like, he gets caught at possession, he follows the ball when he should be staying in the slot. Do you know what I mean? And things like that. And Tierney get done for one of the goals as well. So you're thinking that channel. You're thinking that's where we could get got at. Tierney's brilliant going forward. Robertson as well, obviously. But you know, just at the back, you look at Scotland, and sometimes they just seem vulnerable at times. To be fair, we have cut Grant Hanley some slack. He's been receiving a lot of plaudits because he seems to have certainly worked on his physique anyway, Tam, but we're still putting a square peg in a round hole with Tierney in the left of that three. We've never really had a great amount of competition in the back line. And again, I look at the game tonight and I think if we are going to lose goals, it's as Chris highlighted here, it's usually down the centre.
Yeah, I think that's our weakest position in the centre back area. I think, as Chris said there, the midfield three is very, very, very strong. You know, three great players in there. Up front, I think two decent strikers as well, Robertson as well. So I think at the back, that's the area where Austria, I think, would be targeting us. We've not really had I've said that a few times, we've not really had a consistent back three or a consistent back two that you can, by the way, two are going to play every week. McKenna came in against Denmark, isn't he great? So Jack Henry, I think, will come in tonight because he's quick. And I think Hanley's pretty quick as well, so they'll try. I think Scotland will try and play a wee bit higher. I think they were too deep against Denmark, but I think bringing Henry in beside Hanley, you can go for maybe push up 10-15 yards and try and condense the game a little bit, because the gaps the other night against Denmark, there was Billy Gilmour was picking the ball up and the striker was 50 yards away. So they've got to push up the night, be brave at the back, squeeze up and try and get at Austria. Yeah,
well, that's the key element here, is will we get a Scotland performance, which is basically Scotland having a go, being more positive. I mean, if anything, you could read a million and one pundits, and the label towards Steve Clarke is he is cautious, he is at times defensive. But, you eventually run out of games where you have to actually say, you have to have a go, and away from home as well. We need, I think Charlie Nicholas mentioned, we need to have a positive result in our locker in a big game.
Definitely, that's Tam, you looked at there as well. It's maybe a result which isn't expected. Going away from home is always very difficult. But as you're saying there, it's if you're going to play on the front foot, you have to have your midfield pressing on, your forwards pressing on, and then it means that you expose your back line then, because you're not sitting in. There's going to be gaps from when they press forward, the back line are going to have to come higher. So that'll expose any weakness in terms of pace and that. So you're spot on there, we're saying I think you need pace at the back, and that's why Hendry I think will come in as well. But no, it's important that you get a result which, like the other night when Israel went and won, we're all shocked, and we have to step up now and take confidence from that result and go, why can't Scotland go and do it?
Yeah, I like the middle three. We know what you get with McGinn. He will graft and run all day. His engine's superb. You know that Billy Gilmour, for someone so young, still going through a learning curve, will want to be brave on the ball, take it in difficult positions. The one main man I think I'm so impressed with is McGregor. I just think he is almost an unsung hero at times, but he just keeps the whole thing moving. He's available, he can take people out of difficult areas, and he wants to get the ball forward. He does such an invaluable job. I've watched him for Celtic in the last 3 or 4 games, and he's been immense.
Yeah, I think Callum McGregor's a top player, I really do. I think he obviously last season, I think everybody at Celtic was dragged down. You know, Celtic were poor, the whole club was poor, from top to bottom. And that affected guys like McGregor, Scott Brown, even Edward. There was nobody really played well for Celtic last year, so I think that Callum McGregor's a top player, but you're talking about Gilmour picking the ball up. He's got to pick the ball up, for me, 10, 15 yards higher up the pitch. You know, he's coming back and getting it 25 yards for goal the other night against Denmark. Far too deep, you know, no influence in the game. Get yourself up 15, 20 yards, you know, and you can get McGinn pushed up into that forward area as well, because John McGinn's shown for Scotland that he's got a go on him. But if Scotland are sitting 25 yards, 30 yards for their own goal, he's got to be miles away for getting there. So Scotland have got to be brave and push up. And I think if they do that tonight, get balls in the channels, you know, play a British style game, you know, and try and put Austria under pressure at the back, I think that's our best opportunity to get a win.
Yeah.
And another thing, Peter, is I was reading the other day, we've not beat a top seed in any qualifying since 2007. I think it was France away from home. I'm talking about. So there's got to come a time where you've got to go, by the way, you're going away to the top seed and you're going to go and beat them. Maybe the night's the night.
Maybe it's time for me and Ruffy to get back out and commentate.
That's right.
It's the only
You've
time.
got that game.
It's the only time we seem to win. You know, when you score a
Faddy's goal.
Oh,
Them
you
with the
score an
commentary.
absolute raker. 89 minutes of defending and one moment of genius from Mick Fadden, may I add. But it was a long night in Paris, and I'm sure if they pull it off tonight, there'll be more than a few guys well worthy of a beer. Here's the fixtures, which I think everyone will be casting their eye over and wondering what's going to happen. Austria, Scotland, Denmark against Israel. We are, I think, hoping that Denmark continue their 100% success rate and move on to 18 points. Faroe Islands and Moldova. You know, if you're looking at that one there, I don't think it'll have any great bearing on what's going to be happening for Scotland trying to get that second position in the group. If anything, if we can pull off that result tonight, Chris, you've suddenly got people, you know, on the periphery who may well get that little incentive to say, I want to be involved in this. I mean, we had Tony Watt in yesterday saying, I've just got to keep banging in goals to eventually chap on the door. It's not my time, but he's not giving up hope. You've got people shouting for Ryan Gauld. Even Lewis Morgan, I heard, talking about the fact that he might be quite a distance away, but he hopes he's not forgotten about.
Mm-hmm. No, look, I think, I'll tell you, it's a player that I think sometimes players get, I don't know how it is for us, but I would have jumped at a chance to represent my country, and I'm just not good enough, and that's just the bottom line. So I think players, Andy Robertson, guys like that, they've got passion to play for a country. I don't think there is professional players who don't want to play for a country. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Big Xander Clark's went in there. I'd be delighted for him to get any sort of stuff come on, and guys like that, he's been dying to be involved in the setup. So I'm delighted to see guys like that. So I think pros want to represent their country. I think they do.
I don't think commitment's the question. I think it's enough of a pull to call on. You know, and I don't want to sound like some old fuddy-duddy on this, but if you were going back and you were saying to yourself, well, you know, Miller and McLeish are your two pairings, but then if they can't make it, well, wait a minute, Alan Hansen's got 3 European Cups in his tail. Or if he can't make it, you know, there was another person to actually go in there and play centre half. You know, you just seem to have an abundance of people who were tall, physical, knew how to play the game. You know, Ruffy always raved about the likes of a Gordon McQueen. I can go as far back as a Jim Holton. Richard Gough, great central defender, an absolute battler. We don't have them. We don't even have someone who could even be, you could look at and say, oh, he's close to what Richard Gough used to be. We don't even have that level.
No, I know. And I think that's where we're weak, but as you said before, that was always a strong area that Scotland teams have gone by. But sometimes it can be, you're better than the actual sum of your individual parts, you know, and I think that's something that you look at the Scotland squad, I think we put a lot of boys out as well just now through pulling out the squad, injuries, COVID, whatever it may be, and it has weakened the squad a bit, but you look at that team, there's still enough quality for me. I look at that middle three and I'm like, that's a cracking middle three. I actually quite like Jack Kennedy since he's went and he's playing abroad, and he looks like a better player.
Yeah.
So
confidence is a wonderful thing.
Confidence is definitely a thing that is what can take you to the next level. Self-belief, all those kind of things. So, you know, you've got to try and be positive and and if you go and get a win tonight, it can change the whole dynamic again. It's another positive step forward. Going right, well, we're actually sitting in second place here, but we'll wait a game in hand. We've played a game extra, but that's the whole thing with football.
Yeah, well, apart from anything else, the prediction from you guys, I think obviously we were talking about it yesterday, Tam. There are big games coming up. Israel on the 9th of October is massive for us. You've got Faroe Islands, Moldova, and then I think we finish against Denmark, which we expect. Well, the strange thing is, we expect to get nothing from it, but hopefully by the time you get to the Denmark game, Tam,
they're through.
They're through, and we know exactly what's at stake.
A full Hampden, you know, if Scotland get into that, you know, packed place, and Denmark already through, they might rest a few players. You know, it's not a game you would be writing off as getting beat. So hopefully the second place is secured by then, but if you had to go into that game and get something out of it to get second place, then I think you would take it.
Yeah.
Because as I said, I don't think Denmark will be fully at it.
I think I predicted 1-1.
I was the same yesterday.
Yeah.
I won each.
Chris, you're overly optimistic?
I says earlier, I'll take 1-0 right now, but you could see it being 1 each anyway. We can't, as I can't lose, but as a must win, I feel.
Yeah, okay, must win. Fingers crossed on that. We'll discuss it in greater detail tomorrow in the aftermath, and hopefully we've all got a smile on our face for it on Wednesday. And I can tell you, Tam and Charlie Adam will be limping in here to give us his thoughts on the game as well. Fingers crossed for Scotland and Steve Clarke. Other news that we've got to talk about. Of course, everybody, as soon as the transfer window closes, suddenly people say, oh, I could have got a move, or I might have got a new deal. You know, Glenn Kamara talking about that, you know, he's obviously going to be discussing a new deal to stay at Rangers, which would be great because I think he's a fan's favourite. But there was speculation that he might have gone, but he's there and he's got a chance to go and drive Rangers on to retain the title.
Yeah, I think he's a fantastic footballer. I think 50 grand from Dundee is some buy. It's as good as the 50 grand that Celtic played Hibs for Didier Agath way back here.
Yeah.
It's a similar kind of deal with that, but I think he's a great player, and Rangers fans will be desperate for him to sign a new contract. Whether he's got sniffsy somewhere down England, I know he's from London, so maybe he's got something down there. I think he's well capable of playing English Premiership. I think he's that kind of level. So
as soon as you said that, Tam, I automatically thought to myself, I wonder who the biggest bargain buy that's ever come into Scottish football. I mean, people would look and say 650,000 for Henrik Larsson is a snip, but 50,000 for Kamara is brilliant. Didier Agat was somebody that you never thought was going to turn into this flying fullback. Chris,
Moravchik as well.
aye.
Well, Moravchik, yeah. I mean, I can remember people going, you know, Lubo from MSV Duisburg, but there's been a few that you would probably look at and think, oh, what a great bit of money. It's one of those ones where I'm sure we'll get inundated with people saying this player, that player. Just as soon as you said that there, I thought, I wonder how many other players
I don't
have
think they've a bigger one than Larson for 600 grand.
No, it's not bad, is it?
What a player.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, staying with Rangers and the Kamara situation, over and above that, with internationals, you're always worried about players maybe coming back. The last thing you want is anybody getting caught out with COVID. We discussed the farce, which was Brazil and Argentina yesterday. Leo Balogun and Joe Aribo unable to play in Nigeria's World Cup qualifier versus Cape Verde. Just because of this whole row, the UK COVID rules have forced the players to miss out on playing for their country. I mean, surely there's got to be better organisation to turn around and say, can I go? Will I be able to get into this country? You know, we're already in a situation where there's a sniff that Rangers and Celtic fans will be allowed to go
today, yeah.
To away European games, but everybody,
it's not getting there. Can you get him?
well, that's the point I was just about to make to you, because with the farce of the Argentinian players, you're surely saying to yourself, has everybody checked? Because footballers just usually get their kit, get their bag, get enough clothes, get on a plane, and somebody does everything for them. Has anybody checked to say, are you going to be allowed into that country? What are the restrictions? Even when you're in your bubble? I mean, Celtic and Rangers fans must be thinking to themselves, oh, this is going to be great. We're off to Spain. You know, we're going to be playing. We're going to be in Prague. You know, it's. But there are various other little safeties in there, as you say, that people. Is it a green country? Is it on the amber list? Is it on the red list?
Yeah, this is with your admin people at your clubs. The pressure's on them massively because, as Chris will tell you, whenever you're going away trip or abroad, and they sort everything out. You get your passport and they're sorted everything out, their hotels and all that. And So the admin folk at Celtic and Rangers will be under Series B, and they've got to do all their homework. And as you said, things are so fluid just now. You could go, I mean, Big Ruffy's in Portugal now.
Yeah.
And I think it's a green, is it a green list now?
It's amber.
Is it amber? So if that goes to red, he's not getting him.
Exactly.
Which would be great. I'd get a few extra shifts.
What we'll do,
get red.
I know, I'm just about to say, what we'll do is we'll just change the title of the programme, Tam. I'll give you billing, and then what we'll do is we'll send him a photograph of you arranging. Although every photograph I'm getting for him, I have to say, he's sitting in front of a cocktail.
That's
but
right,
yeah, listen, the one thing that we always took for granted, Chris, is this situation. Well, I know from a commentary point of view, we were all over Europe and the fans were there, Rangers, Celtic fans, just enjoying playing big games and enjoying the country and the city they were in.
Mm-hmm. That's the same for the players. It's like you turned up, all you did was, in Europe, it was like, who am I rooting? Your only concern was who are you rooting with? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you never really got to see, but that's all part of it, isn't it? It's going to the city, seeing the city, going out for a drink, mixing with the locals, all this kind of stuff, and the whole situation is just all up there, and it's a bit farcical at times, but it's madness. It really is madness. But you can still go to a concert and be 50,000. You're so close in contact. It's just everywhere just now, and it's really difficult for everybody, not just footballers and their general everyday person. It's just so hard to navigate, and you've just got to make sure you do your homework, make sure that double vaxxed and all that kind of stuff now. And
well, don't say that, because some people believe that the earth is flat, so we've got to tread a fine line with everybody. Don't tell them to take their vaccine, even though we're in a situation now, quite simply, where people won't be going to concerts unless they've got the app and confirmation that they've been double jabbed. And football, I think, is facing that dilemma as we go into the winter months too. One thing I definitely hope, even when we had the speculation and sniff of it over 24 hours of the rumour of going into a lockdown, would just, I think, kill the game again. It would put us all really in financial stick.
Oh, but horrendous. Where would clubs go? They've done well to get through what happened a year and a half and what's happened so far. So I don't see everybody, businesses. It would be an absolute disaster. So I think that's all right. I think we see a lot of cases. A lot more people seem to be having it just now. But you know that it's not for me to say. I'm not an expert on how this virus works in that. But I can't see how people survive in terms of financially, but people's mental health as well is an absolute battle. And something I've noticed with doing my personal training stuff, you speak to people and people are finding it tough just now. They need light at the end of the tunnel, need some sort of normality back in their life, and I just can't see how shutting the country down is going to do any good for anybody. Yeah,
it's a big dilemma. It veers into politics, but politics has had a real impact in sports, not only football, right across the globe in many sports. I'm sure you've got your own opinion on it, but fingers crossed we can maintain this kind of normality, and fans do indeed get to go and see their favourite teams play in European football. Of course, domestically, we'll be back at the weekend, looking forward to the games, and games in particular. I noticed that Shea Logan has been talking about Scott Brown. I mean, I don't think they were the best. I don't think they were the best of friends to start with, but I read the headline today, Tam, and I thought to myself, well, at least he's been gracious enough to say that, you know, he's the type of player, Scott Brown, that you'd want in your side. I don't think I got the real impression from Shea Logan that he wasn't too happy, that his face probably didn't fit, was the kind of insinuation that maybe Dave Cormack didn't want him rather than Derek McInnes.
Possibly. Listen, we don't know the inside out of it up at Aberdeen. Obviously, I think he went out on loan to Hearts, and I don't think it was part of the plans at Aberdeen. And then Scott Brown's come in, and obviously the two of them have had a bit of history over the last couple of seasons and had a couple of spats. So I don't think Scott Brown would have had any kind of influence on that, saying, no, don't bring Shea Logan in or whatever. I think Stephen Glass thought he was good enough to play for Aberdeen, he'd still be there. So the two of them seem to be at it. You know, Shea Logan seems to like the limelight in terms of talking about Scott Brown, so I don't think it'll affect Scott Brown whatsoever, what he says. Yeah, would Bruni be a good, I know Chris just alluded to the fact of you were always worried about who you were going to be rooming with on European football. Would you have taken Scott Brown as a roommate? No, you two together? No, when I was at Hibs and he was a boy just coming through and he was like Tasmanian devil, never shut up. No, so much energy. I think he's obviously settled a bit down now, but he's no, I wouldn't ever like the room with him. No.
Yeah. Who was your favourite roommate?
Oh, I tell you who I did roommate. James McLean at Derry City.
Yeah, is that right?
He was a nut job. So he was one I roomed at Derry City, but I didn't bother who I roomed with. Usually at clubs he would, if you were a young boy, they would put you with an experienced boy. So when I was at Derry, I was kind of experienced, and James McLean was only a boy. So
yeah. What
I
was
think
he
they
like?
try and mix it. Great lad.
Yeah.
Aye, good boy.
Good fun.
Aye, good fun. Aye.
Yeah. What about yourself? Favourite?
Well, my favourite, Big Brian Easton used to room with him, and he had a thing where he'd say then he'd come back up later on, and he'd just the gear was right off, right, just lying there and I'd be like, Brian, come
Naked?
on, all the time.
Yeah.
That was just his thing. That's how he liked to spend his evening.
Well, that's quite disturbing, isn't it?
That's not a good picture.
That's quite disturbing, isn't it? I don't think Ruffy would have
He had a
that
good cup of tea, but
at all. Yeah. Absolutely consider it. Anyway, apart from anything else, thanks for that insight, Chris. I'm sure Brian will be getting belters from a few. Listen, coming up in the next couple of minutes, I'll give you details of how you can win Tony Watt's signed shirt. We had him on the programme yesterday, and basically it's fairly straightforward. Well, I'll let Tony tell you how you can win his shirt.
For your chance to win my signed shirt from Motherwell, subscribe on YouTube to PLZ Soccer and comment below what number I wear on a Saturday.
I think he's been training with you, Chris. He looked lean and mean.
but he'd been doing it over the summer. He'd been working on it over the summer. Eh?
Yeah, he's been. I think he's absolutely decided that apart from the overall training that the players will do, he started to work on things extra on a daily basis, and it's helped him immensely.
I think that's for any player. It's the bottom line is, like you see, the top players. It's work hard, getting yourself in. Ronaldo the other day when he whipped to start with. You're like, wow, unbelievable. And it's never been Tony's ability. Tony's brilliant ability. Great in the ball, can finish, quick, sees the game, the picture. But there's always that wee question mark. And hopefully that's it. There's something there that's dropped him, and he started the season really well and on fire. And I think playing more central is where he wants to play, and it's suiting his game even better.
Yeah, you mentioned Ronaldo there. Tam and I have distanced ourselves from the overall diet that he's on at the moment. It looked really too healthy for
We were talking about it yesterday, but I mean, if we made chicken and boiled rice, it would be horrific. No?
Yeah,
it would just be. But he's got chefs and all that. Yeah. Wee bit of seasoning, wee bit of this, and they're probably nice.
It makes it a lot easier if somebody's doing everything for you, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean?
If you're sticking 2 bits of chicken and a
well, of course, and I can remember Tam's mum and dad in the early days shouting, "Tam, come in for your avocado."
and Balonlook. Aye, it was that. It was a drink.
So, but listen, the worst thing is, he said yesterday, we love our football, and obviously we've got our reporters that go out to the games, but I just thought it would be great to nip down to Old Trafford to see Ronaldo's return at Old Trafford. So I've managed to get myself a ticket for it, but I've now heard the wee rumour that he might not be able to play. I mean, he's back in the country. I just hope, I think if anything, he'll walk out into the centre of the pitch and the place will just erupt, Tam. I mean, I'd love to see him don the shirt. There's a wee suggestion that he might wait till the...
Are you still going to go down if he's not there?
Oh, you've got to go down. You've just got to go down and see. I mean, I'm a Liverpool fan, but I'll go down and see. If he comes on the park, even as a substitute, the place will go mental.
Oh, it will be. Listen, I think it's a brilliant sign for Man United. I don't think there's any excuses now. From middle to front, Man United are so strong. He has so many options. So his problem will be, who's he going to pick? He's got internationals there, Cavani and some talent, but it'll be interesting to see how Ronaldo does against Ireland. He just played more central. He doesn't peel into the wings anymore. He's not got that pace to go by someone.
Well, I read someone saying, Tam, that he'll only have 1 day of training. He's had to isolate, and I thought to myself, we're talking about a machine here. 1 day of training does not matter a jot to this boy. I mean, he is fitter than even some of your absolute top athletes.
I mean, 36 years old. I watched the Ireland game. I was watching the tail end of the Scotland game was done at that point, and I watched the tail end, and 36-year-old, 90th minute, 96th minute. I mean, imagine you were 36 and you've been absolutely knackered.
Yeah.
And he was up, bang. His movement in the box, he's still sharp as attack, and his fitness is just incredible. His hunger.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all about levels. Let's ask someone who's close to 36 what it's like to still be playing and keep your fit.
He's got the same balls as Ronaldo.
I know, exactly. He's
shredded.
He's doing the pull-ups on the
Aye.
video, you know, with the six-pack. It is all, as you mentioned, on more than a few occasions. You know, to prolong playing the game, Chris, you have to, at any level, try and use your body and protect your body as much as you possibly can.
I think that's the hardest thing. As a player, you still see yourself, it doesn't matter, you still see yourself as like maybe when you're 28, 29, your peak years where you can do a bit more, do a lot more running, blah,
Is
blah,
that when
blah.
you were playing your best football, 28, 29?
I would say 31, just about 28 till 32, and then it was about 34, and I noticed there was a yard, it was just that wee yard where I'm like, I'm not sharp there. I could still run about as much, but I'm just not as sharp, and maybe even recovery in terms of from after games and stuff, but guys like this, he's got all the best ever, and he's well looked at. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, totally different level. But one of the things I think when I watch him is you see he conserves his energy a lot more than what he did before. As you're saying that time, he's maybe not running as much, but he comes to life in the Highland game where there's movement. He come in, boom, twice, went to go front, came back, and then get across, bang, header, goal. And that's the difference with these guys. And I've got a couple of these football shows are talking about Harry Kane and who do you have, Ronaldo or Harry Kane, and you're like, come on, this is a guy that's proven at the highest level, won everything there is to win at the game. There's only one answer. That guy guarantees you 20 plus goals a season. For Man United, with a talent that they've got now in that squad, you're looking at them going, with Ronaldo, they're real contenders.
Yeah.
You know, you can't say they're not.
I think they are. I mean, I think, you know, you look at it, if he scores 25 goals, he'll be miffed, to be perfectly honest with you. Here's a dilemma for you. I thought I'd play a wee bit of scruples with you on this, Tam. The tickets on the black market for people who are desperate to go to the game, £2,500. Some of them are exchanging, some of them are swapping because it's not on the telly. So it's not live. It's Man United Newcastle. Some people are selling them for £2,500.
That's incredible.
Would you, if you had the ticket?
Are you? How much are you looking for?
I'm going. I'm £2,500. No, but you would be tempted, wouldn't you?
Oh, I'm a sell my name. Oh, there you go, Ronaldo. I'll watch it on a IPTV.
Start moving your
get my satellite
about. Absolutely. Listen, it's going to be sensational when you get world superstars. I actually wish that, and we can't be greedy about it, but I wish at the time that Messi had decided to opt for the English Premier League as well. You talk about somebody who conserves his energy. I mean, the criticism of Messi at times was, oh, look, he walks in the game, but he picks his moments, and his moments are special.
That's the thing, and you can't run about like your 18, 19-year-old. It won't, because with players like that, you want them to be effective in that final third. That's the hardest thing. When they get the ball, or they're going at people, or they're getting that chance, they need their energy. You get other players who are maybe not as good.
Yeah.
They do the run for them, don't they? That's what I used to do.
Well, as Eric Cantona said of Didier Deschamps, you need water carriers. And I thought, wow, if Didier Deschamps is a water carrier.
Who was it that said that you carry the piano and I'll play it? Somebody said that.
So that's another cracker,
No,
absolutely. There are some great lines, one-liners to absolutely batter you, just in case you're getting above your station. What about World Cup every 2 years? I don't think UEFA are having it. I wouldn't like to see the World Cup every 2 years, would you?
No, it's a real special event. You know, every 4 years is, and you've got obviously European Championships. You maybe have the Women's World Cup and that as well. So there's plenty going on. I don't think every 4 years, same Ryder Cup. You know, you want to be sitting buzzing for that and ready for it. But no, I don't agree with that one.
It just adds to games for players as well. I mean, some of the top players are playing like 60 odd games a season anyway. And how are you supposed to recover from that if you're playing that much time? It's not good. Players need that time, and I think we spoke about it, Jurgen Klopp last year, speaking about players not getting enough rest time over the summer, coming back, bang, injuries, muscle injuries, knee injuries. To play at that level, at that physical condition, for that time, for year after year after year, you need time to recover, and I just can't see how it benefits the players.
Yeah, and of course you've got two organisations grinding against each other. There's European Championships, there's UEFA Nations League, that's all going at the moment. I think Arsene Wenger was quoted as saying he didn't want to see the Nations League continue because the whole fixture list is condensed now, and I think at times we're burning footballers out.
Yeah, we are, and as Chris says now, it's a highly physical game now. The game's changed from even when I was playing early 2000s. You know, it's a real physical game. Teams press high. You know, the energy levels you need to do week after week, particularly in the Premier League in England, where they're all at it. You know, 4-3-3, they're all pressing, and their recovery is vital. And if you're, you know, burning out players, you know, if they're getting 2 or 3 weeks in the summer, then they're back into it again. Even somebody like Callum McGregor, you know, he was, I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, he had about 60, 70 games.
There wasn't a player in Europe a year or two ago that played more games in a season.
Yeah.
So you need to rest.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking of rest, I think Pelé, one of the world's greatest, the greatest player ever. For me, other people in different generations have their own favourite player, but at 80, he's had an operation in Sao Paulo, and I think it was a tumour on his colon. But thankfully, he seems to be okay and recovering. He spent 6 days in the hospital. I think everyone in the football community would wish him well. There's no point in talking to you two about your greatest ever player because it's someone else. Who's your greatest ever player?
Well, Messi just now, but on Pelé, like, my dad, that was his favourite player, and I remember we used to have a wee VHS, and it was a 70s, it's a BBC one, and we used to stick it on and watch it. Unbelievable.
I think I did watch the same video. Was that the one he used to hang the ball with a bit of string? And he used to up and he'd practice in the headers.
Yeah.
Talk about Ronaldo getting up high, he was up way up like that.
Yeah.
I can remember that. But obviously he scored a lot of goals. He scored, I think, 200 competitive goals and 900 in bounce games.
Yeah.
So he scored well over 1,000 goals.
I think you've been talking to Romario's agent, by the way. It's I think it's something like 1,200 odds.
That's right.
That he's scored, but quite a few of them in these matches where people couldn't get to see Brazil, so they would get them out in these charity matches and celebrity matches and everything, and on tour matches. But yeah, you're right. There's a few debatable goals in there, but he still scored them. Anyway, we wish him well. Couple of things before we finish. Obviously, we wish Scotland the very best. Looks as if Barry Mackay has signed a 2-year deal at Hearts, which I think will be a good signing for Hearts.
Great signing for Hearts, I think. Robbie Nelson likes his wingers. I think he signs a load of them, but he's a good player coming from a good level in England. Still a decent age. I think he's mid-20s. So, no, a good signing for Hearts and gives him, unfortunately, a wee boost for Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing, which is, you're looking forward to going to Tynecastle, aren't you? Yeah. The commentary position is right in the middle. The Jambos will be waiting for it.
Yes.
They'll be rubbing their hands down.
Aye, I'm looking forward to it.
Now you're going to get a wee feel of what I used to get going to games. Other news, which is slightly negative at this time for managers because they worry about players coming back off international duty. Steven Gerrard will be looking. The news coming out, Yanis Hadji has tested positive for coronavirus in Skopje. So that's a player that could be ruled out. We've already looked at Tavernier out as well. Injured Helander, injured Balogun and Aribo can't play for Nigeria. So suddenly, you know, an international break, managers are really worrying, and Steven Gerrard's got more than a few problems there.
That's just one of the things that you're not in control of as a domestic manager when your players get away. Now there's another threat of the COVID. That's the thing. It's least injuries, now it's COVID, and obviously Rangers have got, I think, a big enough squad to handle that, but it's definitely a concern because he's been a good player. He's a good player for Rangers. Yeah,
absolutely. Of course, I might as well finish on a couple of quick things. I read a story yesterday which was so sad it was unbelievable. The French defender Jean-Pierre Adams died at 73 years of age, Tam. He went in for a knee operation, and unfortunately when he went in there he was given an anaesthetic and it basically caused him permanent brain damage. He was in a coma for just short of 40 years.
Yeah.
I mean, what an absolute tragedy. This is a guy who played international football for France.
Oh, I read it as well. Just unbelievable. I mean, I feel really sorry for I think his wife was there every day, just looking after him, and praying he woke up. His whole family just maybe thinking, come on, one day he might wake up. And no, really, really sad. Read that myself. It was feel for his family.
Yeah, there, but for the grace of God, I mean, that's when you put things like football in perspective. We love our football, and there are sad stories along the way, and maybe a few joyous ones. There are also sometimes when I just get embarrassed about football, and this I leave you with is the statue outside Brecon City's ground. Braveheart now. It's been unveiled at Glebe Park. It was on display at the Wallace Monument in Stirling, and I think it was damaged, and now it's been repaired, and somebody has decided, well, they've got it and they'll take it back and put it outside Brecon. Now this, for me, is up there with Michael Jackson's statue outside Fulham's ground.
That's repaired. What did it look like before?
My favourite one is Ronaldo out at the airport. I mean, that bust was just incredible, wasn't it?
It was, but do you play with Kevin James? Aye. It looks like Kevin James, that one.
Kevin, if you're listening, get in touch with us. We'll give you his number. Anyway, statues outside grounds, some of them don't do them justice. Okay, good luck to Scotland. Good luck to Steve Clarke and the boys. Hopefully tomorrow when you join us on the programme, we will be talking about a good result for Scotland, a positive result. Join us if you can. Thanks to Chris Miller. Thanks to Tam McManus, from myself, Peter Martin. Thank you to you for watching.